All right on time today. Welcome, everyone. We are going to be hearing from Karianne, Gwinn, and Ross Loofbourrow to learn more about how to make change happen when it matters most. My name is Ashley Rumschlag, and I am the National Director of domesticshelters.org at Alliance for Hope International. I'm joined today by our senior services specialist, Rachel Myers, who will be monitoring the Q&A and the chat and providing behind-the-scenes support throughout today's webinar. This webinar is presented thanks to our partnership with Verizon Skill Forward. Verizon Skill Forward is a program that provides free, you heard it right, F-R-E-E, free, upskilling courses on the edX platform for 1 year. If you're looking to expand your own skills or serve people who could use the support in building skills to reach their goals for their future, check out the link in the chat to learn more and to get started. So a big thank you to Verizon for providing this amazing program. Domesticshelters.org is the host for today's presentation, and this webinar is a part of our ongoing free webinar series. Check out the Watch Webinars section of the website to learn more about past webinars. And just a reminder that you can get a certificate of attendance for our past webinars. And then domesticshelters.org, as I mentioned, is a program of Alliance for Hope International, where we focus on creating communities of safety, hope, and healing. You can learn more about Alliance for Hope by visiting allianceforhope.org to learn more about our programs, resources, and access a library of lots of content that you can use in your work. Just a few reminders before we get started. We do have live closed captionings available throughout the presentation. To enable these, just click Show Captions, and then we'll also provide a transcript of the entire presentation. We'll get that to you within a week. We do have everyone in listen-only mode since we are on a webinar. And make sure that you use that Q&A box, which is, see the little Q&A button in your toolbar. Use that to ask questions. And then also, if you want to connect in the chat, you can do so. Just kind of have conversations and, of course, introduce yourself. That's the best place to do it. We will send you also a certificate, that transcript I mentioned, and a recording of this playback. So we're recording right now. We'll edit that up and send that over to you within a week. And then any additional resources that are referenced throughout the presentation, we'll get those to you as well. Before we begin, we just want to take a moment to remember the lives lost on September 11th, 2001, and honor the bravery of those who rushed forward to help. May their courage and sacrifice never be forgotten. Thank you all. All right, so our presenters today are, as I mentioned, Karianne Gwinn and Ross Loofbourrow. Welcome, Karianne and Ross. Thank you so much for being with us today. I know we have a lot to cover, so I'm just going to turn things over to you so you can jump right in and get started.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. We are really thrilled to be with you. My name is Karianne, and I am the Verizon Skill Forward Project Coordinator. For a lot of you may have seen me on other webinars. I'm so glad that you're here. I am so excited to have Ross Loofbourrow with us today, and I want to give you a little bit of a background about how Ross and I met. We met working at a camp in 2009, which feels like ages ago. And then in the fall of 2022, Ross was starting this coaching business, and he reached out to me and he was like, hey, I need a practice client for my high performance coaching business, and I want it to be you. And at the time, I literally was like, I think you got the wrong person. I don't know if you meant to call me, but it's like, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I was navigating a lot of really hard stuff in my personal life. And I was like, this is not for me. I'm not a high performer. And Ross was like, yes, you are. I know you enough to know that you are capable of so much. And then we embarked on this amazing coaching journey over the course of almost 2 years. And so I'm so excited to have you here, Ross, to just share your wisdom and hype with our listeners and attendees. Thanks for being with us. Oh, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm not hearing you.
Ross, yeah, we're not hearing your
There we
audio.
go. Now you can
There
hear
we
me.
go. We're in business.
Had to hit the mute button. We've all struggled with that before. No, super glad to be here. Thank you for having me. And just really excited for this conversation.
Awesome. Ross, will you tell us a little bit about your background? So we shared in our email out to everyone, inviting them to this webinar, that you are the only ADHD high performance coach in the world. Tell us what that means.
Oh man. Yeah. And who knows? Like that may have changed at this point. I might not be the only one, but yeah, a little bit about me. So I was at Apple. I don't know if you've ever heard of Apple. It's a little startup company. Maybe you're
Familiar?
familiar. But I was at Apple for just shy of 15 years. And I was working in their retail stores for the entire time I was with them. Worked in about 5 to 6 Apple stores throughout the Silicon Valley here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And that's where I really cut my teeth in, things like leading people and helping other people. And, the man, working in the Apple store, it's you have to be so well versed in so many things because we all know our technology is life today, right? Our lives are on, I have my phone set off to the side, but our lives are on these devices. Everything's there. And so to be able to learn how to come alongside people in some of their hardest moments and to listen to them and be with them and have the patience to encourage them and guide them and educate, along with needing to know everything about the products. Like it was a tall order, but man, my ADHD brain loved it. So I got a chance to lead people, lead teams, inspire others, and that led into what I do now. So now I'm an ADHD high performance coach, and I've known that I've had an ADHD brain since I was diagnosed in second grade. And as we all know, TikTok has made ADHD famous, and it's the club that a lot of people like want to be in. It's kind of crazy, but that's what I do now. Is I help adults with ADHD take back control of their life and go from feeling like I'm broken and feeling like what the heck is wrong with me to recognizing there's nothing wrong with you, and what you really need is someone who understands you, understands the different way that you're wired, and is there ready to cheer you on, give you direction, give you tools, give you different ways of looking at the world so that you can start designing your life in accordance with your, neurological differences so you can actually thrive and get back to enjoying life and getting the most out of it, because the most frustrating and annoying thing in the world, it's maddening, is to see your potential, but to know that you're here and you see your potential, but you're here. And when you are trying so hard to close that gap, it gets exhausting. And so many people get too close to giving up. And that's where I often find people and start working with them.
Yeah, gosh, that's so true. I mean, even in our coaching relationship, that was true for me, to come in and be like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to figure out how do I make it on my own after having been out of the workforce for so long and not believing in my capability. And you came alongside me in, honestly, like one of the lowest seasons of my life, and were able to see and empower those things in me and help me see the goodness of what is my ADHD brain. And I know our journeys are so different because you were diagnosed as a child, which is so much more common for boys. And I was diagnosed as an adult. And so I'd spent so many years of my life asking that question of what is wrong with me, and why is everybody else smarter than I am, and why is it harder for me to get tasks done, and all of that. And I think that there are
Yes.
so many misconceptions about ADHD. So I want you to break this down for us. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
Oh gosh,
What,
it's the
what a
worst.
mouthful. I know, it is the worst.
Here,
So talk to us about like what it is, what are the myths about it, and do you view it as a disorder? Like that's a big word to put on something.
yeah. Yeah. Labels can be so destructive. And they also can bring us a sense of belonging, and it's kind of what we're seeing today. So to start, with ADHD is so much a part of the conversation now. And I encounter so many people that are like, I think I have a little ADHD. And they're almost a little excited about it. And you're like, okay. But the truth is ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder. How in the world is anyone supposed to feel when you get that label slapped on you? It's all negative. The entire thing is negative. And if I could, I would rename the whole thing. Something like, for example, adaptive cognitive hyperactive ability. ACHA. There's a different one. Adaptive cognitive hyperactive ability. Again, it's just choosing to view it and focus on the positives, focus on the good. So, number one, I absolutely don't believe that it is a truly, I don't believe it's a deficit. I don't believe it's a disorder. I don't believe it's a disability. Now, the fact that it is a classified disability, it gives people, depending on the country that you live in, it gives people amazing resources and options. So it's, it's a double-edged sword, but it truly is just a divergent way of being. And the word divergent is not, whoa, a totally different way. Divergent is just a little bit. Like, I'm just gonna take a divergent path, right, in life. And that's really what it is. But so many people view ADHD as, like Doug in the movie Up, right? Squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. Like that's what people think. Like, you can't focus. You struggle doing the things that are easy for everyone else. Like, just plan your day. Like, just set some priorities and get some things done. Like, why can't you just continue with those habits and those routines that you need to have so you can live a better day and live a better life? Like, just figure it out. Just figure it out. And the biggest misnomer that people with ADHD don't understand is that ADHDers are working so hard. Like, they're some of the hardest working people on the planet because we are trying desperately to figure it out.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to figure it out on your own, it's a lot like feeling like you're just chasing your tail and you're running as quickly as you can, but you're just standing in place and you're not actually moving forward. So it is inherently it's a difference. And truly, like, there's so many people out there that are masking and they're trying to be something they're not, because our world is designed for neurotypicals. Our education system, everything is designed for one particular way of being and moving throughout the world. But if we went back to, let's say, a couple thousand years ago, our ancestors who were hunting and gathering and living in these tribes and these communities and constantly moving and fighting for survival, people with ADHD would have been unbelievable assets to their community, to their tribes, to their family, because we're not afraid of risk. We love risk. Taking risks gives us the dopamine hit that our brains need. Like, we have this crazy intuition, this ability to sense how other people are feeling, to read others. We're wildly creative. I mean, we come up with all sorts of ideas, right? And a lot of times that's not celebrated or appreciated, but man, we have idea machines up here. So this is
Totally.
some of the benefits.
I think that's one of the challenges, is having so many ideas, right? Is that even in our prep for this webinar, you and I were like, idea, idea, idea. We're like, okay, let's boil it down to what's the action plan. And that's where I think executive functioning comes in, is that all the ideas in the world without action, they don't really matter. So we can have tons of ideas, but if we're not taking action, making forward movement, it does not matter. And in this webinar, when we were talking about how do we want to kick off September, so many of us, we still function in a school calendar energy in our minds. We're like, oh, it's the summer, I'm going to take it easy. And then, okay, it's September, it's time to hit the ground running again. And we're trying to figure out how do we help people go from this chill, relaxation, vacation mode back into it's time to set some goals, it's time to get some forward movement, and all the ideas in the world are not going to get us forward movement without action, right? And that's where that executive functioning comes in. So I love talking about that. And I think too, something that especially is relevant for our community here is that a lot of times trauma, because of the way that it disrupts the nervous system, it can cause the presentation of very ADHD-like symptoms and difficulty with functioning. So things like brain fog, inability to make a decision. And I mean, I could go on and on about all of the reasons that that is present, but I just want to say for our folks that are listening that you may not have an ADHD diagnosis, but you're like, oh my gosh, I resonate with all of this stuff. It's very likely that trauma and being in that sympathetic activation, fight or flight mode is the reason that you feel that way, which brings us to mindfulness. So we've talked so much about mindfulness and mindset in our Verizon Skill Forward program. And the reason that we've done that is exactly what I was just saying about trauma, because we're supporting a lot of survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault that are not in a great place, not living the calmest, most mindful life, because our bodies can get trapped in that space of I'm not safe, I need to be hypervigilant, I'm aware of my surroundings constantly, and we can't dream from that place. And I know that, Ross, for you, mindfulness has played a huge role in your journey of ADHD. Will you walk us through that? How did you discover mindfulness, and what does it look like for you now?
Yes. Gosh, don't get me going on this. So so first of all, let me just frame mindfulness a little bit, because we all know about mindfulness and we all know about meditation and we all know that we should be doing it more. No, I bet nobody on this call today is like, what? Mindfulness meditation? That's good for us? The science is conclusive. It's conclusive. It does benefits for your brain that nothing else can. Nothing else can. We've learned more about the brain in the last 15 years than we ever knew about the brain before that. Like, we were so ignorant because we just didn't know. But we know now. In the last 15 years, with the technology we have, we can see and map exactly what's happening in the brain with people that consistently practice mindfulness meditation. And what's happening is all the good parts of your brain, and I'm not going to get into all the science, right? We're going to keep it up here where we can all relate and get it. All the best parts of your brain that you want to be feeding, you want to be growing, because they're the parts that make you more resilient. They're the parts that help you make decisions when it matters. They're the parts of your brain that help you apply creativity to the problems you're facing and figure out, like, what's the next step I can take to keep moving forward to figure this out. It's the parts of your brain that help you believe and know that I'm going to get through this. And no matter what life throws at me, I trust that I can figure it out. Meditation and mindfulness grows all of the best parts of your brain. The science is conclusive on that. So now, how do we actually do it? So first of all, mindfulness isn't about emptying your head. It's one of the biggest misnomers. And it's one of the biggest reasons people quit it. They don't even start because they're like, what? My mind's so active, I couldn't possibly turn it off for 2 minutes, let alone 5, 10, 20 minutes to practice mindfulness meditation. But that's not what it's about. It's about noticing what's in your head. That's it. It's just about noticing it and not judging it, but acknowledging it, noticing it's there, and just kind of being like, okay, I see you, and then letting it go. and then looking at the next thing and being like, oh, yeah, there you are. That thought, that always catches me beating myself up. There it is. And then let it go and then see the next thing. So just to kind of reframe that. And Apple was great because during my time at Apple, Apple loves to do these challenges to help us be healthier and more mindful. So there was a mindfulness meditation challenge every single year that the company would roll out, company wide, and they would give everyone tools, and you could win prizes if you were consistent. So everyone would have an app that they would use. And that app was actually, it used to be called 10% Happier. It's called Happier. So if you're looking for a tool, drop that in the chat. Happier. It's a great app if you are, and it's created for skeptics, for people that are like, I don't think I can do this, and it will help you do it. Well, I would start trying to practice, and I sucked at it. I was doing all the things that you shouldn't. I was thinking, oh, my mind's not quiet. My mind's not quiet. I'm not doing this right. I'm not doing this right. And then it wouldn't be calming at all. Like, it was a frustrating practice. But then I went through a season of burnout where I was trying to build a business. This is before we started working together, Karianne. I was trying to build a business while working full-time at Apple. And I'm sure some people in this community, put in the chat if you can relate to trying to juggle too many things. And sometimes life demands that you struggle, that you juggle multiple things while struggling with that totally. Well, I was trying to juggle a full-time job and build my business and be a great husband and be a great dad to a newborn. And I was drowning. And I'll never forget, after 3 months leading up to Christmas, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. 3 months leading up to Christmas, I had been going to work at Apple, and I would come home and I would just be working more, trying to build my business. And we have a baby at home, our first baby. And my daughter's name's Georgia, by the way. She's 6 years old now. And I'll never forget my wife let it kind of she saw that I was passionate about trying to do all the things. But then she said to me, she's like, Ross, when am I going to get my husband back? She's like, because honestly, I'm tired of being a single parent. Like, I'm sick and tired of it. And that's exactly what it's felt like for the last few months. So when's that going to change? That was a wake-up call. And got on the phone with my ADHD psychiatrist, who I met with once a month, and I started bawling, crying my eyes out. I'm a feeler. I love a good cry. Put in the chat if you love to cry. Seriously, I love crying. I love feeling my feelings. I love the movies and the books and the music and all the things that make me emotional. I feel like when I tap into those true emotions that make me cry, I feel like I'm feeling the day again and feeling my life again. But I'd never cried with this psychiatrist, and I'm bawling. And he can see something's very different. He's like, oh. And he says a couple of things to me. Number one, he says, Ross, did you know crying, do you know what it does to the human brain? I was like, no. He's like, it's a really good thing. It's like, okay, how so? He's like, crying, when you cry, immediately after crying, it actually unlocks parts of your brain. So your brain is actually in a better place where it's more able to problem solve. Like, so when you're facing problems that maybe lead to you crying, when you cry afterwards, your brain actually is better at spotting the creative ways to begin solving the problems that you're facing. So it's actually a problem-solving tool, is to cry. So those of you out there that are like, shoot, I don't cry, or I can't cry, like, it's okay, right? It's some we can work on. But for those of you that do cry, no shame. and crying. No, that's powerful. And I am getting back to the question. This is just the lead up to it. So he recognizes that this is burnout. So he goes, Ross, you got two options. You can either quit Apple right now, like put in your 2 weeks today, or you can see if you can get a leave of absence, because you have to stop. You have to completely stop what is happening right now, or you will never recover from this burnout. I was like, I don't think anyone's ever given me more black and white options that I don't like. I don't like either of these. Long story short, I go on a leave of absence. Like, so thankful to Apple for that. A 6-month paid leave of absence. Changed my life. But here's answering Karianne's question. Where did mindfulness begin? Is my psychiatrist, at the beginning of that leave of absence, he says to me, Ross, I only want one thing from you. One thing. I was like, okay. It's like, I'm only going to ask for this one thing for your entire leave of absence. It's like, what is it? Like, wow. I mean, I wish life was like that all the time. Yeah, just give me one thing to do, one thing to focus on, one thing to improve. That like, I could do that. He says, meditation, mindfulness. Do you think that you could do 20 minutes a day of meditation, mindfulness? I know you've never done that before. I know you've struggled being consistent with it, but do you think you can actually make that happen? And I said, yeah, of course I can make that happen. I don't have to go to work. I mean, I have more free time than I've ever had. He's like, great. If you can do that, together, we're going to see greater gains and improvements in all areas of your life than anything else you could possibly start and do over these coming months. So just do that. Make sure that gets done. And I did. Like, I was like, okay, the one thing. So I did it. And I'm not kidding. 2 months later, 2 or 3 months later, 20 minutes every day using the Happier app to help me do it. And I remember I was on vacation and my psychiatrist, he goes, hey, how you doing? And I said, I'm doing great. I said, can I tell you something that's kind of weird? It's like, sure. It's like, I don't know if there's something wrong with me, but I actually am looking forward to getting home from vacation so I can get back into my routines and my habits again. And he goes, whoa. He's like, Russ, that's not weird. But what that is it's showing you that mindfulness meditation is working, because you would have never had that desire pre-mindfulness meditation, because routines and habits, like, those were as elusive as mindfulness meditation was. But doing mindfulness meditation it created the capacity for me to actually start to put together some routines and habits. And then I actually was missing them. I was missing the mundane of just the routines and the habits of life. So to just share the last thing I will tell you about mindfulness meditation, and it's hard to describe, but I did it consistently for like 2 or 3 years, 20 minutes every single day. Listen, perfectionist is a pure myth. Write it down, put it in the chat. Perfection is a myth. Perfect doesn't exist. Put it in the chat. Because we all need that reminder. And I wasn't perfect, but 90+% of the time I was doing it every day. And here's what it felt like. When stuff came up, think about the things coming up that came up just this week. Think about the things that came up just in the last few days that are stressing you out, that are making you just fearful and worried and feeling like you're not going to be able to find a way through. When you practice mindfulness meditation, what started happening is when I faced those moments, it felt like I was outside of my body. Sounds woo-woo. That's the best way to describe it. It felt like I was actually able to come outside of myself, outside of like my life predicament. And it felt like I was able to observe what was happening. Like it was almost like things would like, it was almost like life would pause and I would get a moment to just think, how do I want to respond to this? How do I want to feel about this? What's going to be the best way for me to perceive this and interpret what's happening so it serves me?
Yeah.
And it was crazy because all of a sudden I was less reactive and thrown about by all of the surprises that life hits us with.
Yeah.
And it was the coolest thing because I was just more steady. I was more steady than ever before in my entire life. So
I love that.
that was a lot, but it was important to give you all the context because it wasn't just like one day I said, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things behind it that created the necessity and the
Yeah.
urgency to make it happen.
Totally. I love what you said about how do I want to feel? I think so often we just let life happen to us without having a whole lot of intentionality around what we're choosing. And then we find ourselves in these seasons of we're feeling depressed, we're feeling anxious, we're feeling burnt out, we're feeling whatever, negative emotion because we're just letting life happen to us. And we, we forget that we're in charge.
Yeah.
We are in charge of our own lives. And I
Yeah.
know you and I have talked a lot about
I know we didn't touch on how we actually do it, which we can touch on that next.
Look it up on YouTube, everybody, or look up the Happier app. There's lots of resources. Sometimes it's even just typing into YouTube 5-minute mindfulness, 5-minute meditation, whatever it is.
Just to, and sorry to interrupt, Karianne, just to add something real quick.
Yeah.
I had this in my notes and I think it's just helpful. This would be maybe a good thing to put in the chat. Mindfulness meditation creates space between stimulus and response. That's what I was describing. I was like, I was outside of myself, and that's the best way to describe it. But the most distinct way to describe it is that it creates space between the stimulus, which is the thing that's happening, the thing that life's presenting, that's making you feel all the things. It creates space between that and your response. And that is where choice lives.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. I love that so much because we can just get in that place of being reactive. And I think especially for ADHD folks, the reactivity and the impulsivity sometimes can manifest itself as I'm saying things just without thinking about it, or I'm letting my thoughts ruminate or whatever. So mindfulness, I love the image. I bet a lot of people have seen this before, where it's the difference between your mind being full versus being mindful. And it's at first someone's walking down a road and there are just thoughts everywhere. And then the next one, the person's walking down the road and they're seeing the tree and they're noticing the flower. And we're just being present to what is in the moment.
yes.
And it's just, we overcomplicate things like this, right? And I think that when we talk about negative, I'll catch a sheet, being we are in the driver's seat, right? We're in the driver's seat of our decisions, of our energy. And I want you to talk a little bit about energy. So often in our we're feeling exhausted. People are burnt out, and then we're leaning into these. I like to say that coping skills can become coping mechanisms. They cross this threshold at which first it's nice to have a little distraction so that my chaotic brain isn't going constantly, but then we find that it becomes something that's addictive or gets us into a pattern of I'm watching hours of Netflix a night or whatever.
Right.
And we're doing things when we're exhausted that are not actually going to give us energy at all.
Right.
So, talk to us about how generating your own energy is going to
Yes.
help you actually be able to pursue the goals that matter to you.
Yes. I love it. Now, before we jump on that, you said something, I think it's important just to add. I love that you just gave all those examples of ways that you can practice mindfulness without sitting in a chair. Now, granted, I I learned to love that. Like that is how I practice mindfulness meditation. The lights are turned down. I'm in a space where there's not like chaos around me, right? I'm sitting in a chair or I'm sitting on the floor with my back, like straight and closing my eyes and being guided by, a meditation session through an app, right? Whether it's Happier, but it doesn't need to be that. It's actually a lot easier to do what you just said and just start being mindful, being mindful of what you're experiencing, being mindful of what you're eating. And really like, how good does this food taste that you're loving right now? And like, why do you love it so much? Is it the texture? Like, is it savory? Is it kind of spicy? Is there an exciting element? Is it kind of comforting? Like that's the easiest place to start. So I just love that you bring that up. And we make things complex for no reason. We do it all the time.
Yep.
And I think we do it because we're a little bit in awe of complexity. So when someone's a YouTube video or podcast or whatever, and someone's talking and 50% of it's like flying over our head, but we're capturing, part of it. I think we're a little bit like impressed by that because we know that someone out there is like, oh, I'm able to understand all of this. This makes perfect sense to me. And then we feel this shame, like, wow, like I got work to do because this is more complex than what I really understand. And so we make things complex because we think that complexity is better, that complexity is actually how you get results faster. And that couldn't be more wrong.
Yeah.
Because complexity is the very thing that will lead you to quit the thing that you're trying to do. It'll be the very reason why you don't practice mindfulness and meditation more often, because you set something up for yourself in your brain, telling yourself, I have to do it this way at this time in these circumstances. And it's too much. It's too much. So energy management. This is my favorite. This is one of my favorite topics because I am energy. This energy that you all are feeling right now, and it is 100% organic, like natural, grass fed.
And you're like this all the time. You're like this in one-on-one interactions. You're like
I'm
this.
like this all the time.
You're on a stage, on a webinar, whatever it is. That comes naturally to you, and it doesn't for everyone.
Correct. Yeah. And what's great is that, and Karianne said it to me yesterday when we were preparing for this. She's like, yeah, but Ross, you don't struggle with lack of energy. It's funny because yes, on the one hand, sure, I can see why people would say that, but I have a version of myself, which other people probably can't identify because my energy is so high. So even when my energy is lower, people probably don't even see it as being lower, but I can feel it and I know it. And it doesn't feel good because I know I'm not at my best. I can't bring my best and do my best when my energy levels are subpar of what they can be. So energy management, it's huge because a lot of us are waiting. We wait for the energy to hit us, right? And we can wait. We can wait. That's a strategy. And energy will come, right? You'll get a sudden influx of money in your bank account. Woo! Like got some energy now, right? Like all of a sudden you go on a date and you're like whoa, your energy levels are off the charts because you are infatuated and you're in love and it's great. Oh my gosh, like you just had this, your child just said the sweetest words to you. Oh my gosh, like your energy's elevated. So we can wait for it. Things do happen to us that improve our energy. But is that what you want to do? Do you want to just be waiting for it? Or do you actually want to feel it? Like, so generating, I think that's a big thing, is recognizing that you are in charge of your energy. You're in charge of it. And the energy that you bring into a space is arguably one of the most important qualities that you can add to any sphere of life. It's one of the most important things that you can add to a relationship, to a big moment at work, to just a really tender moment with someone that you love, to, a hobby that you have, to, a big project you're trying to complete around the house. Like, all of it requires energy. It's why coffee is the best-selling drug on the planet, because we all need it and we all want more of it. So I think that's really important to recognize. I don't have to be a victim to my energy. And instead, I get the opportunity to generate the energy that I have. So that's the first like mindset shift around energy.
Yeah, I love it. It puts control back into our hands.
Right. So here we go. We're gonna make it practical.
Yeah, make it practical.
We're doing it. Okay.
I'm gonna let you take over the full screen here. You go for it.
Perfect. I wish I could see everyone's face right now. But that's okay, because I'm imagining your beautiful faces. And this is gonna feel a little woo-woo, but just go with it. Okay, just go with it. You can talk about it later, about the weirdest thing you did earlier today in a webinar. I want you to stand up. So if you can, go ahead and stand up. Okay? Wherever you are, stand up. And once you're standing, come on. I know some of you are sitting down, stand up. Come on, just humor me. And what you're gonna do is we're gonna do a little breathing exercise. So we're going to breathe in through our nose very intensely and very rapidly 10 times. And as I breathe in through my nose, I'm going to also breathe out pretty intensely. So I'm going to show you. Ready? It's going to look like this. I know I look pretty silly, right? Pretty silly, right? So that's what it's going to be 10 times. Like, so in and out, in and out, in and out. So one in, one out is one time. We're going to do that 10 times. And then what you're going to do is, after the 10 times, we're then going to go, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. 10 times you're going to say, I'm ready. Okay? I know. You're like, what? Are we really doing this? I know. Yeah, I love Vicky said, holy lightheaded. Laugh out loud. Yes, please. I'm not a doctor. So if your doctor wouldn't recommend you doing this, don't do it. You can sit in your chair and do this. You can do a modified version. If you're getting lightheaded and you're about to pass out, you're doing it wrong. Like, ease off. Okay. But here we go. We're going to do it together. So everyone's standing and you can just follow me. So here we go. And I have my hands ready for the second part. So on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I actually lost count. And then we do the next part. We go, I'm ready, 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 I'm ready. How does that feel? Now imagine doing that last part and like getting your whole body into it, like actually bobbing up and down. So maybe you just maybe you didn't really do it. Like, you're hiding because you don't have your camera on. You're like, I'm not doing this. This is so stupid. I'm going to give you one more chance. Come on, do it. Let's do it one more time. Okay, ready? Here we go. And I'm going to count this time in my head. 1, 2, 3. I'm ready. 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 Woo! How's that feel? Now, if you feel even 2% better than you felt before you did that, that's worth it. That's worth it. That was free. You didn't have to go to the gas station. You didn't have to, open your wallet. It's as simple as just noticing that you can alter your state at any given moment. But again, just like mindfulness meditation, it starts with a choice. You have to choose it. I'm not going to be there with you to guide you in that. I wish I could. So I love all the chat messages. Great. I love it. Felt great. This is fun. My husky came running and is just as happy. I feel like I'm about to go into a ring. Giggling, silly but energized. Felt great. Yes. And so this is another one that sounds like an energizing practical tool. This is another one that actually helps to bring your brain online. So our cerebellum in our brain is really important, and we know actually. So if you have ADHD or not, this is applicable. But if you have ADHD or you have a neurodivergent brain of some kind, and I'm sure many of you out there do, or suspect you do, because we're a big tribe, we know from the science of the last 15 years that the cerebellum in our brain is too often offline. And it's a big reason why we struggle making decisions and we have a hard time planning and we struggle with our emotional regulation and we get overwhelmed really easy and paralyzed by too many choices. And if you can bring your cerebellum online more often, you're going to feel better. And you're gonna be better at doing those things that feel normally so hard to do. So here's what you do. You have to stand up again for this. And I'm gonna adjust my camera so you actually can better see what I'm doing here. And what you're gonna do is you are actually going to lift up one leg. So go ahead and start by lifting up your right leg, and you got to balance. And so you're gonna, lift up your right leg and hold up your left hand like this. So your right leg should be up. So I'll show you. Just like that. And you're just going to rotate back and forth. So you can just watch me and see what I do here. So I'm going to go like this. There you go. And you can see what I'm doing is I'm turning my head and facing the direction of the arm that's up. But I'm just rotating back and forth. So let's all try it together. We'll start right leg up, left arm up, and you look towards that left arm, and then you switch and you look towards the other arm and you just do it over and over. So let's do it like 10 times. So go ahead and try it with me right now. Ready? Here we go. And you just hold it there for a moment and then go back down, go to the other one. I must be nervous or something because I normally am a little better at balancing, but I wish I could see all of you right now doing that. It would be the funniest thing because no doubt some of you are about to fall over. You're like, oh, wow, this requires a lot of balance. Yeah, that's exactly what helps strengthen your cerebellum and bring it more online is balancing exercises. So anything that requires balancing is actually strengthening the cerebellum of your brain. So you might be like, oh man, I have a balance beam that I use all the time. That's awesome. That means you're strengthening your cerebellum. So if you already have something that you do whether it's, it takes balance to snowboard. It takes balance to, ride a bike. It takes balance to do all kinds of things. Any activity that's requiring balance is strengthening your cerebellum. But again, we don't always have the time to go get on a bike or get on a snowboard, or right. The right circumstance might not be presenting itself, but you can always do that. You can always do that little exercise. So again, now you got a couple tools to generate energy, and then also to help bring your brain more online and strengthen parts of your brain that are most fundamentally important when it comes to being able to prioritize, being able to plan effectively, being able to make decisions without being paralyzed and overwhelmed by all the choices and all the complexity. So put in the chat if that if that helped, or even if it didn't help, if you're like, that was just fun. And remember, our brains actually do better when we are trying new things. Novelty is really powerful, and novelty is a key component of continued learning. So if you're going to the same restaurant and you're doing the same things in the same way every day, you actually need to switch it up. So if nothing else, we just gave you a little novelty in your day.
I love it. That's so awesome. Thanks, Ross, for leading us through that. That was amazing. And I love those of you who chimed in the chat that were willing to just go for it and lean in. It's amazing. I mean, that's the reality, right? Is that if we are living boring lives, we're gonna want to escape them. And by bringing novelty in and things that can help stimulate our brain in a new way, we're getting ourselves back in the driver's seat and being like, you know what? Who cares if people think I look like a weirdo standing in my cubicle on one foot and then the other foot, or breathing rapidly, or whatever it is. But
hey, I wanted to
saying,
share some of these comments in the chat. They're so cool. Like Sheila Beeson says, definitely helped. Everything is rang true for me and several of my staff. I can't wait to share this information with them. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Or like Colin Rogers said, it's definitely one I may use for future meetings where I need an icebreaker before a meeting with systems partners, where I don't want anyone dozing off during the meeting. Yes, absolutely.
I love it so much. So all of this kind of ties back, Russ, to goal setting in, it doesn't seem like a direct way, but it really is a direct way. When you start taking control of your energy that you're generating, and you start getting out of the passenger seat and into the driver's seat of energy production, goal setting, seeking specific emotions, it is a huge game changer. And when we were chatting earlier, we talked about the 3Ds. And
the 3Ds, yeah.
Let's get there, because so often, especially when people have experienced any type of abuse where power has been taken away from you, it's hard to dream. And it's hard to get back in the driver's seat because you've been told that you didn't know how to drive. People have been told, you're not going to amount to anything. You're not going to survive without me. You're not smart enough, whatever it is. And so I love these 3Ds because it helps us to get back into the driver's seat and decide what we want our life to look like, instead of living a whole life where, life is just happening to you. So shed some light, drop some wisdom. We want to hear about the 3Ds.
Okay.
And then after you share about the 3Ds, you can guide us into the reflection questions.
Okay. I do need to say for a second. So a couple people in the chat, McKenna says, my coworkers and I are loving this. Can you shout out Julie? Hey, Julie. So there you go.
What's up, Julie?
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, we are here. We're real people in this age of AI. We're not AI generated. We're just like you. So that's probably the best part of this whole webinar.
I just want to say, Ross, for you, that someone is wondering if you have written a book yet, or if you have book recommendations with these types of tools. Book forthcoming, maybe? Who knows?
Right? Yes. And I love that you're asking, because yes, yes, I absolutely want, and I'm committed to taking more steps to putting things out there in the world that can help and serve people in these ways. And I do have book recommendations, which you are going to get some additional resources, all you that registered. So
Yeah,
that's awesome. You'll get those after
love
this.
it.
So
Okay,
3Ds.
you're going to talk about the 3Ds, and I know it's going to be hard, but we want people to have the time to do some reflection on this. I know
Totally.
we talked about that power of just writing down, having a moment, and our attendees are often so spread thin that these types of moments are not common. So for all of you listening, we are going to create a moment of reflection for you
Yeah.
in just a little while after Ross talks about what these 3Ds are and how you can really harness the 3Ds to take control of your life moving forward.
Yes. Okay. Last thing, and then I'm gonna not look at the chat for a little bit, but I'll keep looking at it. I just won't respond for a little bit. But Nancy said, do you also have any recommendations for an ADHD app to help with daily tasks? Yes, and even if you don't have ADHD, this app is brilliant. So it's an app actually I've recently stumbled across, and it was built from the ground up for ADHD brains, which makes it very unique in the planning and prioritizing space. And people without ADHD are actually loving it as well. And it's called Luna Task. Luna Task. I'll drop that in the chat real quick. So Luna Task. So there you go. I hope that helps. Check that out. It's fantastic. And yes, you're welcome, Nancy. So the 3Ds. Yeah. So the 3Ds of breakthrough design, right? We're all looking for breakthrough, right? We're all looking for moments where we can put 1, 2, 3 things together and actually start to experience momentum and progress and be like, it's happening. Things are changing. We all want that, and you all deserve it. So these are the 3Ds of breakthrough design. Number 1, decide. Decide is the first D. The second D, I'll give you all 3Ds and then we'll talk about them. The second D is define. So the first D is decide, the second D is define, and the third D is design. So if you can go ahead and type in the chat those 3Ds for yourself and also for everyone else, like it helps me know that you're asleep. I mean, not asleep. It helps me know you're awake and you're not asleep. So type those 3Ds in the chat for me right now. Decide, define, design. Decide, define, design. Yes. Yes, Vanessa. Yes, Vicky. Yes, Taylor. Yes, Renee. Yes, Brittany. Yes, Bridget. I see you guys. It's awesome. Great. Thank you. I love it. Decide, define, design. So we'll start with decide. And I'm going to keep this really simple. Like, I'm not going to drone on and on here because, again, what? We make things too complex. I'm preaching to myself right now. So decide is all about, you got to move from this idea of, oh man, I really have to work out. I really need to talk to my friends more. I really need to go to bed earlier. I really should eat better. All of those ways of talking to yourself are not serving you. So deciding is moving from all of that, from the like, well, I think I might like to, like, no. Move away from that and move towards certainty. Okay, so deciding, when you decide something, there's a level of certainty in that. And don't get caught thinking this is an ADHD moment. But I just want to mention the fact that we always second guess our decisions. Come on, put in the chat if you're like, yes, I'm always second guessing myself, especially when it's a big decision. And what do we say to other people we trust? We go, I just hope I made the right decision. How many times have you said that in the last couple weeks? I hope I made the right decision. Let me tell you something. Your decision that you make, big or small, in any given moment, it's always the right one. Oh, whoa, whoa, Ross, what are you talking about? Like, I've made some decisions that weren't the right decisions. Hear me out. You have experience, perspective, insight, knowledge, understanding, and hard-earned wisdom based on your life, what you've gone through. And it makes you a completely unique and brilliant individual. So when you know that, and you can trust that you're making decisions, your brain is making decisions based on all of your intuition, from all the life you've lived, from all the insight, from all of the struggles and all the things you've learned. So when you make a decision that's even just made with a little bit of thought, a little bit of intention, that's made with just a little bit of patience, like you took the time to actually think, what decision do I want to make? It's always the right decision. Because the right decision is the one that you made. Nobody can ever tell you you made the wrong decision. I'm sorry, that is completely inappropriate. And listen, Karianne did not know we were going to touch on this. It just came out of nowhere. But I just want you to know that give yourself the gift. Stop second guessing your decisions and instead remember the right decision is the one I made. That's it. Period. End of story. So anyway, get off that soapbox. There we go. No one can tell you made the wrong decisions because it's your life. It's your experiences, not theirs. So decide. You got to move from all those wishy-washy ideas to, I'm committed to this, right? Something as certain as that type of statement, right? I'm committed to getting in the best shape of my life this year. I'm committed to showing up more for my family, my friends, and my loved ones. I'm committed to feeling better. And I know that starts with getting better sleep. I'm committed to taking back control of my life. And I know the first step is just figuring out 3 things that I'm going to get done every day. And I'm going to decide what those things are at the start of my day. That gives you an example. So define, this is, baby, I'm taking you to church right now. So define is all about recognizing that you have to create your own definition of success. You, not anyone else. Do not let the world or that friend that you stalk on social media and secretly wish you had their life, don't let that dictate your definition of success. And this doesn't have to be a really big existential, like crazy question, like, wow, what does success mean to me? You can go there totally. And I encourage that, but you can start with just, okay, I'm committed to getting better sleep. What am I going to determine success looks like with that thing that I'm committed to doing because I want that. I deserve that. Like starting there. That's so important. And just to anchor this in more, this is so big. Like if you don't take anything else away from today, please remember this. You can create goals and you can build a vision board and you can do all these things to help you reach goals, to help you improve your life, to help you change the state of what you're experiencing every day. But none of it matters. None of it matters if you don't get your identity right first. So I hope you heard what I just said, because it's really important. You can have goals, you can have all these, you can have the plan and the tools and the courses and the books and the resources and the aspirations and all the things. None of it matters if you don't first work on your identity. Your identity. What does that mean? One, it's like starting to recognize that, starting to reflect and think, how are you thinking about yourself? Are you beating yourself up? Are you telling yourself that, like, are you making yourself feel shameful and just feeling bad about who you are all the time? Or are you walking and living with a state of mind that's like thinking things, for example, along the lines of, I believe that I have everything I need to make progress in this area. I know that people love me. I know, I know that people care about me. I'm so grateful, right? Like, just to give you an idea, like these are part of the ways that you start to rewire your identity, is by changing the ways that you talk to yourself. And it doesn't have to be out loud or in the mirror. It can just be what you say in your own head. So that's another webinar. I'll come back another time. We'll do a whole webinar on that. So define, right? What does success look like for you, not for other people? And then design. So for design, you got to build the daily systems, the systems that you need to make it inevitable. So good. So design, you got to build the daily systems that you need to make success inevitable. And again, I know some of you, when you hear success, you're thinking, oh, financial success. No, no, no. Again, your definition of success, yours, not the culture's, not someone else's. So we're talking about your definition of success. So you got to build the daily systems because, and I'll wrap up here so we have time for reflection questions, but we all struggle with falling into things. So we either fall into things, right? Think about the things you fall into. You fell into binging that Netflix show that's really good. And you fall into looking at the news app too often, which, man, I constantly am battling a struggle with looking at the news too much, too frequently. You might fall into just too much screen time. You might fall into eating too late in the evening before you go to bed. You might fall into just, bad habits with the way that you respond to the people that live in your house. Like responding poorly, right? You've fallen into that. There are things we fall into that serve us, and there are things we fall into that don't serve us. So think about right now, like put in the chat, what's something that you've fallen into that is serving you? Like you've fallen into it and it's serving you. It's helping you. And what's something that you've fallen into that you're going to boldly declare right now is not helping you? It's not serving you. It's not supporting you in becoming the most alive, optimized version of yourself who can feel each day more and can be filled with more joy. So we fall into things, but then the other angle around design is that we can choose. Again, it's all coming back to choice. We can choose things, right? We can choose the things that we fall into, right? I was on a coaching call with one of my clients this past week, and it was just such a great way they described this. And this person said, they go, I just want to find a way to drop into that. So that's how they described it. Like, I just, I think by doing these things, I can drop into better sleep more often. I can drop into practicing mindfulness a little more often. I can drop into a state of mind that allows me to show up better for my spouse, for my kids, for my friends. So there you go. The 3Ds of design. And we'll cut it off right there so we can do reflection questions.
Awesome, Ross. Thank you. I'm seeing a lot of people resonating with this in the chat and just, being reminded that we have a lot more control than we think we do, which is where huge change happens. So we want to give y'all a little bit of time to reflect. It's such a hard thing to come by in this crazy day and age. So you can either choose to reflect on what Ross was just sharing about the 3Ds, or we've got some other reflection questions for you to just take about 5 minutes. We're going to go off camera, turn microphones off and everything, and just give you some space to just think where you are in your life. And the questions, you can go onto the question screen. So we've talked about, how, this identity and how do we dream again, and what advice would you give to someone if you were teaching them how to dream? What's a current pattern draining your energy, and what's one conscious adjustment you could make? One. You don't have to overhaul your whole entire life. You just choose one thing. What's one positive emotion that you want to consciously pursue this week, and how can you pursue it? And then if you could only focus on one area, we've talked about physical energy, mental clarity, or emotional resilience, which would create the biggest ripple effect in your life right now. So your choices right now to remind you are, you can choose to write and journal about these reflection questions, or you can choose to kind of allow yourself to have stream of consciousness around the 3Ds. Just see what comes out. Are you designing your life? Have you decided what success looks like for you? Have you defined who you are, what your values are? So we're going to give you about 5 minutes and we will come back, and we hope that this is a fruitful time for you. The final chord has been played. All right, start to wrap up your thoughts here. Thank you all so much for just taking that time. I realized I only gave you 3 minutes. I thought the song was over. It's so important to have these reflection moments because when else are we doing this, right? Like, if not during this webinar, when would you be doing this? I'm gonna read a little bit from people who are sharing in the chat. So physical energy is one of the focus areas that would be helpful in mental clarity. Draining my energy is disorganization. Absolutely. I will share this. That's a struggle for me as well. And I have often felt so bogged down by all of the stuff that has to be done in life. And I'm a single parent and like, oh, I'm the only grown up that lives in this house. And so, Ross, I am sure that you'll remember this, that one of the really powerful reframes that came out of our work together was me, instead of being like, oh, I have to do the dishes, saying, I get to create calm in my home and in my mind by doing the dishes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I get to
That's
create
it.
that. I get to create that. What a gift. So,
I hope everyone just heard that, because I mean that was in a lot of ways more powerful than any of the examples that even I shared, because that was so real. That was so real, and it's just, that's real life right
yeah,
there, Karianne. Like,
we're all doing it.
dishes are piling up, and you're looking at it and you're stressed and you're frustrated. You have to do it, and you're really ticked off.
Yeah.
And what you just said, say it again for everyone. What you just said, I get to.
I get to create calm in my home,
Yes,
in my mind. A lot of
get
people
to.
are chatting it up over here about mental clarity, emotional clarity. And then someone said sometimes hope is scary, and to dream is to have a sense of hopefulness. Hope can be scary. It is scary when you're used to settling for less and having dysfunction, to believe that you actually have the power in your life to make goals and move towards them. It is scary, and it gets less scary, but in the beginning, just all the compassion. And I would just encourage you to step into, I always love like just putting a hand on the chest and be like, it's okay that this is scary. Like, speak to yourself the way that you would speak to your
Yes.
own child that you love so much, and you're in this scenario, you're the most validating, the most empathetic parent possible, and we are doing that for ourselves as well.
Yes. And
Yeah.
Karen, can I just want to add something, because I know Karianne told me that these webinars are normally an hour, and this one's an hour and a half, and this is, an hour and a half length. So it's longer. And so I just want to thank everybody before we're not done, but everyone who did show up today, thank you. And I just want to say, this conversation has energized me. Like, all your comments. I mean, man, it's energized me as much as, and even more than I had ever hoped it would. And I hope it's done the same for you. And I just want you to know, like, I share out and send out practical insights, like many of the things that I've shared with you today and more. I do that on a weekly basis. Real strategies, not just fluff, but real things that you can try, use, experiment with,
Yeah.
like, put to work in your life. And so if you want to stay connected, just shoot me an email at ross@heroicadhd.com. So
Mm.
ross@heroicadhd.com. And I'll put that in the chat. And I just want you to know, I read and respond to every single one. So
Yeah.
there you go.
I love that. Thanks, Ross. I know you have so much wisdom and so many nuggets that can be really, really powerful in helping us look at our lives in a different way. It's so good. I want to share. Someone from the chat said, looking forward instead of backward. When you look forward in the small things in life, like buying a new outfit you like, watching an episode of your favorite show, etc., you begin to see joy in the big things. That is so true. So true. Okay, y'all, we have just 10 minutes of time here left, and I am going to hop into the Q&A right now so that we can ask some questions. Ashley, you want to moderate that?
Yeah, I'm happy to read those off. There's just a few that kind of help to
Ooh,
recap.
this is the best part. I love Q&A.
Yes, yes. So please, if you have a question, drop that in the Q&A box and we will get that covered if we have time. So the first question comes from very early on the webinar, but can you say again your rename of ADHD? What were
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
your
Yeah.
acronyms?
So it's the rename is ACHA is the acronym, and it stands for Adaptive Cognitive Hyperactive Ability.
Adaptive cognitive hyperactive ability.
And I know some of you out there are like, well, I don't have the hyperactive component, or my son or daughter, they don't have that hyperactive component. So, oh my gosh, I guess they don't have ADHD. No, no, no. Like, again, that the acronym doesn't totally encapsulate, it, but it's just, it's one version that is so much, it just serves the ADHD community better.
And that
Got it.
hyperactivity might not be, fidgeting. It might be in the mind, right? The things that you can't see.
Yes, yes.
Well, Ross, when you have that petition out to change it in the DSM, we will all sign it. We're in. We
Everyone's
love it.
I love it. Yeah. Um, and we knew this question was going to come up. We discussed this ahead of time, which is just tools and resources and the things. And you shared some great apps. You shared the Happier app. You shared, I already downloaded the Luna Task, I think was the name of the
Lunatask, yeah.
Task app. But any tools or resource recommendations, whether around mindfulness or positive coping skills, the specific recommendation was to help calm some of these nerves and anxieties that you describe.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. I'm gonna just fire off like these are the ones that I'm using all the time. So here they go. I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, what are they? Here they are. So one is Twos, TWOS, Twos app. Oh man, this is probably the best quick capture app that exists today. Like it allows you to just quickly capture ideas, things you need to remember, things you don't want to forget. Even online, you can add a little shortcut in Chrome, and you can just highlight. You can highlight something that you're reading online, and boom, it gets saved in Twos. And
Wow.
Twos doesn't require any organization of any kind, which ADHD brains love. What? I don't have to be organized? Yeah. You just put it all in there, and the search function is otherworldly. So literally the search function of Twos, you could be like, I think I put something in there about my Uncle Jack's like stinky feet, like something he uses for that. And I'm having, whatever. And you could type in like Uncle Jack or stinky feet, and like it will literally pull up that note that you put in 2 years ago.
Amazing.
Just pull it up.
Like an external hard drive for your brain, right? All that stuff.
Yes.
Not going to stick. You're not going to be able to recall it, but you can put it in there.
Yeah. So that's one. Another one is Endel, Endel. So Endel it's an amazing app for focus. Like, if you've ever read the book Flow by Mikhail, anyway, I can't pronounce his name right now, but the famous book Flow, we know that all humans get in this state of flow. Some are more apt to fall into flow than others, like ADHD brains. But if you're trying to get into flow and you're just like, man, I get into it sometimes, Endel will help you do that. It is lyric-free, science-created beats, neurologically designed music to help your brain. And it's amazing. Like I have a lifetime membership that I bought and I use it all the time and it's incredible. So that's another one. Could help you in a big way when someone's talking about tools for like the stress and the anxiety and the overwhelm. Boom. Another one, and I'm looking at my
Yeah, I'm
another
literally I've downloaded these as you're saying them, definitely.
another one is Snipped. So Snipped, SNIPD, Snipped. And this is an app. I think it's the best one that exists today. If you like listening to podcasts and you get so tired of the fact that you listen to a podcast, but then you can't remember all the amazing value bombs and the things that were said. And you're like, well, I don't have time to go back and listen to the podcast again. Like, it's just frustrating. It can almost make you fall out of love with learning in podcasts because of that issue. Well, Snipped is brilliant and it uses AI for good. And basically what it does is it over 1,000 podcasts a day, Snipped processes with AI. So 1,000 of the most listened to, watched podcasts are processed with AI. And what you can do with Snipped is you can just start listening to a podcast on Snipped. You don't have to do anything. And the AI will automatically save for you all of the nuggets, all of the little value bombs and insights. It'll just save it in your Snip account just by listening to it. So it's like someone going to work for, it's like having a note taker during a podcast, but you just sat there and enjoyed it. And then you can reference and reflect and remember the value bombs. And then when you do hear something, you're like, oh my gosh, I need to tell my Aunt Charlie about this. Or, oh my gosh, like my friend Joe, he needs to hear this. You can just tap Snipped right in the app and it will capture the 30 seconds that it just heard and the 30 seconds after and form a little saved insight. So that's amazing for just continuing to learn and work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
And if anyone likes to read, if you enjoy reading or you enjoy Snipped, probably my favorite tool today that is just changing my life. I'm a reader. I wasn't always, but I love to read when I get to learn what I actually want to learn. So I use a tool called Readwise. So Readwise, all one word. And what Readwise does is if you use a Kindle, which you can see all these books. I have read almost every single one of these, by the way. It's not just for show. But I'm a book, like I hoard books, or I did. And at the beginning of 2025, my wife was like, we don't have any more room for books. So you either are getting rid of books or I don't know. You just need to figure it out because we're not buying any more. Well, I was a underliner and a highlighter in my books. But the problem is, when I want to go back and actually reference some insights, I got to look through the whole book. That takes too much time and I don't do it. So Readwise, I got a Kindle at 2025, changed my life. I now am only getting books on Kindle. And when I read, anything I highlight gets synced to Readwise. All of it. And Snipped, that other app I just told you about, any podcast highlight gets synced to Readwise. So all your podcast value bombs and insights, all the things that you've read and highlighted and underlined, all are in one place. And this is the best part. There's an AI brain built into Readwise. At any time of the day, you can open up the chat function in Readwise and say, hey, my wife and I are struggling right now. We are fighting all the time. And I need you to give me some insights, to help me with that. And it will literally feed you only things that you have highlighted or you have snipped or you have saved based on your learning, on your exploration, on your reading, and you can have it in an instant. And you can go back and review it. You could share it with and say, hey, honey, I just came across this thing that I read a long time ago, and I just think this is something we should look into more. It'll change your life. It'll change your life.
I love the way you've been able to harness technology, not just for technology's sake. It's fun and exciting, but you've built this system seemingly that you can go out into the world and learn things and then actually use them and remember them. So thank you for sharing all of those apps.
Well, and I just want to say that that's part of like releasing the pressure valve of the anxiety and the stress and the overwhelm you feel. Is a big part is that we are overloaded today with information, with apps, with books, with podcasts, with resources, with webinars, with thought leaders, with experts, the list goes on and never ends. And that will send you to the loony bin if you're not careful. So by incorporating some of these tools, instead of just feeling like you're like, I can't read another book, or I'm done with podcasts, or I can't take in any more information. Instead, you can be relieved by going, oh, I can actually enjoy I can actually enjoy some of these things that I once found a lot of value in, but I haven't had the capacity in a long time to actually appreciate and utilize some of these things.
Yeah, that's great. Great insight. Somehow, though, it has been 90 minutes. So we are at our time. It's flown by. Thank you, Ross. Thank you, Karianne. This
I
has
know
been
there's only one Q&A question, but I hope
we
that
got we got
helps
there
you.
too. We got there too. No, it was very, very, very good use of time. Yes.
Right.
But yes, thank you so much for being here. The comments section has been one of my favorites to date, with the amount of interaction that we're getting. So yeah, thank you
Gosh,
all
awesome.
for taking time to be here and then being present and engaging with this. And hopefully you walked away with something that's gonna make the day better, make the rest of the week better, and the next month and on to the next year. So we hope you have found some great takeaways. But a reminder, we did record this, so we'll have it ready and edited in the next week. We have resources. Ross has graciously put together or is going to put together a list of resources. We'll share those. And then we'll send all this out within a week. And Ross, what's going on? What's up? You
Oh,
got more. You got more. But wait, there's more.
the last thing is, I told Karianne this, that my goal for today's time together was that you all on this call today felt so much value, and you just really were helped by everything that was shared and discussed and talked about. My goal is that this isn't the last time. My goal is that I'm going to come back and we're going to do part two, and we're going to take one of these topics, which we can easily go have a whole 90 minutes just to zero in on: procrastination, right? Like mental clarity, emotional resilience, like designing your life. Like there's so many things. So that's my goal, is that you all, if you enjoyed this, let them hear it, so that way I could see you again and bring some more value.
Yeah, I'm picturing everyone hitting the leave meeting and then just like running around the office, having major energy. So, and I'm seeing that in the chat too. So yes, I think we accomplished our goal. That's great. All
Awesome.
right. Well, thank you again.
Thank you
Everyone
so
have a
much.
wonderful rest of the day, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
See ya.